You are now tuned into Check This Out News. We connect the streets. All right, Say the Dark Secret on another edition of Check This Out News, and why wouldn't we, man? There's so much going on in the world of technology, and it moves fast. I got my man Mike Johns on the line. Mike, let's get right into it. Let's go.
Absolutely, man. We got Black Girls Rock, Black Girls Code, now enter Black Girls Dye Foundation. And we said black women don't mind getting their hair wet. A new nonprofit organization hailing out of Baltimore, Maryland, has created a new get-down that's really focused on black girls and young women to explore marine-related research and pursue careers in aquatic-based STEM fields. Enter Black Girls Foundation, which operates in so many ways under a STREAM program. And this is interesting because STREAM stands for science, technology, robotics, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And dig this, they're doing scuba diving. The program opens in Baltimore area for girls aged 9 and older, and goes all the way to college freshman females, and they partake in building and testing underwater remotely operated vehicles. I like to call those drones underwater, with video recording capabilities while engaging in introductory underwater archaeology and the study of diversity in the world of aquatics. Is that a word, aquatics? No, I don't think that's a word. The underwater ecosystem, how about that?
I think aquatics works as well, but we'll take all of those. That's what's up, man. Well, I was just thinking about it, and I know that in our community, especially, in the black community, a lot of kids aren't swimming, and there's a lot of drowning deaths. So I think in being motivated by these opportunities, one, we'll get a lot of our kids swimming out there, but I know how hard we go in the arts and sciences, so I feel like this is a great opportunity, man. So kudos to that, bruh. Keeping it moving. Go ahead.
One thing that I would add to this program actually received funding from the U.S. Navy. I think that's very big. Again, Black Girls Rock, Black Girls Code, now the Black Girls Dye Foundation with a little bit of backing from the U.S. Navy. That's supremely big.
Yeah, very big, man. Switching gears, man, an unlikely union here with Taco Bell and Lyft. What's really good with that?
Well, Taco Bell, the Mexican food chain with over 7,000 restaurants in the U.S., saw an 8% increase over the weekend customer activation during the 11 p.m. hour, thanks to the partnership with Lyft, where customers, after going from the club, late night outs, whatever, are allowed basically to have the option of going to a Taco Bell to place orders. And the chain gets its largest share of daily foot traffic from the 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. hours. Taco Bell receives nearly 20% of all late-night fast food visits nationwide. So it was only a right thing to do to partner with Lyft to make that option available. Thanks to the success of what took place in Orange County, where they did their beta testing for this new program called Taco Mode is going to be rolling out nationwide in 2018. So you can actually add Taco Bell visits to your Lyft travel destination. I think that's really hot. It just shows where we are in this tech world we're living in.
Wow, that's very progressive on Lyft's part. Way to give yourself a competitive edge over Uber and anybody else. Now, switching gears for a minute, are there going to be tears at the robot funeral is my question.
Well, let me just start off with this. A Japanese company has introduced a new role for SoftBank's humanoid robot Pepper. And if you don't know, SoftBank is the big boy that I've mentioned in the past that has big stock within T-Mobile and Sprint. They're probably the ones that will make the final decision if these two companies actually merge. And one of their other projects is robots. And so Pepper is the name, and in the Japanese culture where robots are really big, thanks to the fact the population is aging, and so companionship is starting with robots over there. They're very big with robots. So when you saw the movie I, Robot with Will Smith and the scene with having the robot in the house, that actually comes from Japan, where they're really forward-thinking, very aggressive in having a robot as a companion outside of just the dog. So this is only the next step to say that this company literally, I thought it was very interesting, a Buddhist priest for hire at funerals. And what's crazy is the fact that these Buddhist priests, they are not able to make the money that they normally make, so they're now having to take on other jobs. So funeral robots have stepped up to be in place where a priest may not, because he has to look for other works. And this is a savings because it only costs them basically only $450 per funeral. So it's crazy times that we're in where a robot is doing the funeral rites. I mean, Lord only knows. Then next thing you know, their robot will be performing your marriage ceremony.
I wonder, is it going to have that clipped up robot voice?
Probably so. Or they'll get that advanced. SoftBank got big bread. They might even have a Scarlett Johansson voice or something like that because she's really big right now in the robot world in Japan.
Bizarre. You just show us, especially if you're not given that information before you show up. But anyway, Google is moving. Everybody use the term Google. All right, so Google is a verb, not just a noun.
Yeah.
Or should they own the verb is the question.
Right. Should Google own the verb Google? Question of the day. Last week, a petition was filed by the U.S. Supreme Court asserting to the common use of the word Google as a verb. And should it be put into the public domain, and Google's parent company, Alphabet Inc., should lose the trademark on it. So it's interesting what's being proposed here. But the petition certainly doesn't come as a surprise to Alphabet Inc., because in 2006, the word Google was actually added as a verb within the dictionary. Oxford and Webster's dictionary actually embraced that term. And so now the question of the day is, should Google own the verb Google?
Wow. Okay. I think they should. They better claim everything they can get because we're living in an ever-changing world. Instagram and Instagram and Snapchat are predicted to take a little chunk out of Facebook. And if that little chunk sounds like it's going to translate into a whole lot, what exactly is going on with that, Mike?
This is a part of a bigger scenario, but what we're seeing is that there's a decline among teen users in the U.S. who are now opting for the likes of Instagram, and Snapchat has really blown up. And this just comes in from eMarketer, which predicts Facebook's usership will drop 3.4% among those aged 12 to 17 as teens migrate to other social media platforms like the Snapchats and Instagram. And I think it's really interesting in the fact that at the end of the day, who owns the content? You look at Vine, and you had all these followers on it, and then that closed, and then we migrate to the next thing. And so there's always going to be this transition to, and we as the people are always looking for what's next. Facebook does a great job. Instagram and Snapchat, ultimately I think Facebook, they have the big bank to buy, and that's what they should do to keep their relevancy. But yeah, we're seeing that shift where more and more of the youth are starting to get involved with Snapchat, particularly Snapchat followed by Instagram.
Wow. That's going to be interesting, man. Let's talk about this. Drones are the new big thing, and they're taking over globally in so many unique and creative ways, but drones are going to be used now over Africa, huh?
Yeah, man, and I'm so happy. We're seeing a lot. Last week reported on the electronic ID cards in Nigeria. Well, drones are going to be used in Tanzania to deliver medicine to health facilities across East Africa, continuing a trend that the African government is actually embracing, this network of drones to deliver in critical areas or undeliverable areas where there aren't roads and what have you. Drones is like the best thing going. So the Tanzania government is working with U.S. logistics company Zipline to launch what they call the world's largest drone delivery service for emergency medical supplies. Walmart, Amazon, watch out. This company is really taking its mark, and they're doing it in Africa. In the first quarter of 2018, the Tanzanian government will be using drones to make over 2,000 deliveries per day to more than 1,000 health facilities. Zipline has recently noted this. So I'm really proud of what's going on there and seeing how they're using the technology to make it good and make a difference and save a life.
That is accurate, man. I love to see progress for the continent, man. Let's talk about this classism that's happening with the digital divide that continues to broaden itself. What is it?
Yeah, well, I like to say, let them eat cake. If you know the phrase, the Queen thought when there was a famine going on, let them all eat cake. That's what I have. And so most Americans don't even realize that we actually have a digital divide between those within city areas and those who live in rural areas. And the numbers are staggering. Communities on the wrong side of the digital divide are bearing a burden that people who enjoy access to high-speed internet may not realize that there's actually those out there who don't have internet access. And even in the state of California, when you leave out there near Coachella and all those areas, internet access is a serious issue. Millions of people in rural and some urban neighborhoods are pursuing educational attainments and business development, but have their hands tied because they don't have the access to high-speed internet.
Man, that's messed up.
So it's really crazy what's going on. There's infrastructure under development nationwide. 58% of the rural census blocks have now noted that no high-speed internet providers are available, and the problem affects certain urban areas as well. So we still have a long way to go. America the Great. You know, I like to say make America smart again, but we got to have our infrastructure in play as it relates to internet. And this means that bright students who are struggling in school in hopes of getting higher attainment do not have access. Let's talk about online education and advanced placement courses. And now, because of the internet speed, they're lacking and they're falling behind. So, Trump, I hope you can fix that.
Speaking of him, he said make America smart again. Well, I think that also applies to the war on drugs. Obviously, seems like that wall ain't going to stop these drones either.
No, not at all. You know, even if Trump builds a wall, drones can still deliver us drugs, more drugs, and they will. So just last week, we saw that the Border Patrol seized or intercepted XYZ pounds of meth being shipped from the border across over to San Diego using high-caliber drones. And I'm talking about drones that are used on TV sets and movie productions that can carry heavy weight. This is interesting just to see that no matter what you do, there's always a countermeasure. So you stop this, we'll use that. And this is all done at the hands of technology, and that technology in place right here is drones. So Trump, even if you build the walls, drugs can still be delivered, and they will.
Interesting. Amazing, to say the least. All right, so what's going on now, Mike, with these banks or any job that want to monitor employee movement?
Well, I like to say this. Banks are now monitoring how often employees are just sitting on their ass. And I'll start off with Barclays, a leading British bank, has decided to trim costs by tracking how employees move about the office. So the bank has installed monitors under the desk to keep tabs on the coming and going of traffic. This, according to Bloomberg. The idea is to have a better idea of how much office space the bank actually needs in an effort to save costs on real estate. That kind of makes sense. What I really like about this, or what's really interesting, is the idea is to have a better understanding of how they can be cost effective. The new and under-the-desk device at the Barclays records heat and motion. Managers can now track the activities on a dashboard to sense the usage trend. The device is not intended to monitor their productivity, but instead it's really about just seeing where they are. And I kind of question, maybe the device should monitor productivity. If you're lagging on the job, this might be the new future right here. Big Brother is watching, and Barclays is leading that off.
Damn, how many finger taps did you apply to the keyboard?
Exactly.
Damn.
I like to say, think of 1984.
The future wasn't supposed to be this difficult.
It's called being efficient.
Some people might describe that as being too nosy, but that's just me. All right, right now we need to check in with Christian. She's got our entertainment report. Christian, what's up with it?
Hello. So content is the new cash cow. So basically this past week, Apple decided to put more than $1 billion to developing new television and film experiences, according to the Wall Street Journal. However, Apple is really not the one that's doing all the big moves in the business. Netflix and Amazon are making some huge investments, with Netflix investing over $16 billion for the next few years.
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
And Amazon investing about $4.5 billion, which doubled their previous investments in the content creation. So it's pretty crazy, but I think what's super awesome about it, urban communities are now being able to see stories that are featuring people and situations that they can truly relate to. From Amazon producing and releasing Chirac with Spike Lee, to the YouTube Red acquiring Nick Cannon's new Jamaican drama, King of the Dance Hall, which is going to be super cool and starring Whoopi Goldberg and Busta Rhymes. And I think it's really big because it comes at a really big moment, a pivotal moment after the controversy with hashtag Oscars So White and just the lack of representation of different groups in Hollywood. It's interesting, but Netflix really seems to be trying to make their way and